Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration, CILC. So you just go to the www.cilc.org, and the first thing you're going to want to do, if you haven't already done this, is click on the Join Now. And it's going to ask you some questions about, are you an educator or staff in a nonprofit? You have to make sure you change this to yes to that question, and then click on Join Now. You'll get this screen, which is your member profile, and you have to fill in all kinds of information in here as far as the address, email address, occupation, etc., etc., etc. Down at the bottom is your email preferences. So if you don't want them to email you, you gotta set this all to none. If you want certain things emailed, like programming, collaboration requests, all that kind of thing, then you click on that. And then when you're all done filling that all in, you click on Submit Membership. And if you forgot to do something, it will tell you have to go back and fix it. So I'm already have an account, so I'm going to back up a little bit and see it has me filled in here. So I'm going to click on Login, and here we are at screen. Now there's a couple different things I can do at this point. I can go to mycilc.org, and it's going to show me about my account, my collaborations, calendar, all that kind of stuff. Also, you can click on here to see what your program requests are and what the status is. I don't have any currently, so it's not going to show me anything. So here, I'm going to show you next how to do a search. Okay, in order to do a search, I've got all these buttons across the top here. I can look for content providers, programs. I can look for academic classes. I can look for collaborations, professional development programs, video conferencing directories. Usually the one that we've used the most in the past has been the content provider programs. So it's going to list, give you a little search box here, and some explanation of some things. You do have to have a PIN, and they ask for just to be one PIN per building. So somebody at Feezer will have a PIN, and you'll be able to use that if it's a free program. And so we'll get into more of that later. So say I want to look for careers. I just type that in the little box there, and then it's going to give me all kinds of choices here about careers, and there is actually 82 programs that are about careers. Now, some of these cost money, some of them are free. So what I may want to do up here is check on where it says program cost. I may want to change that to either free or some inexpensive price, and we'll talk about paid programs in a little bit. But if you change this to free and then click the search again, you can see it kind of cuts it down a little bit. There's only 9 choices now. So we have careers in the NFL, careers in horticulture. I want to work at a zoo. It also has grade levels down here. Some programs it's easier to find programs for older kids. Ask a Ranger is Glacier Bay. That one's open to just about anybody. So let's take a look at that. Ask a Ranger. So I'm going to click on that. It gives me all kinds of details now. Addresses, what's going on, no maximum number of participants, which is good. It gives you program description and tells you what the objectives of the program are. 30 to 50 minutes, 0 cost. So they only do this by video conference, which is our life-size unit. That's what that is. They would not have the webcam like Skype type thing available. They only do the video conference, which is what we have. So that's good. So I'm going to click on request this program now, and then here's some of the information is already filled in. There's the name of the provider, the program. The program delivery mode for us is always going to be the video conference -H.323 because we're a life-size unit. Then I have to put a desired date in there. So I'm just going to make something up here. I know with the Glacier Bay people there are some limits. let me go out to April, and I will click, I'll just pick a day here. I'm going to pick the 20th of April. And then what time do I want the program to start? So keeping in mind that Glacier Bay is a little behind us on the clock, I'm going to say, I'm going to leave it at 1 o'clock, but I'm going to change it to p.m. And the end time then would be 2 o'clock p.m. You have to click this even though it's free. Then the requesting organization. Now in the case of a free program, you're going to be able to do Feezer. So we're going to go all the way down here through all the alphabet. Mary Feezer Elementary. Then, now if I want somebody other than me to receive materials, I have to put in their name, email, and their email again. And if you're requesting the program, then you should get the material, but if you want somebody else to get the material, then you would put their name in there. Grade level, let's say we're going to do this for 3rd grade, and we're going to have 40 participants. It's always better to overestimate the number of participants. So then I've filled in all the boxes I have to, I think. So I'm going to click on Next Step, and then use the existing billing information, and here it all is. We probably should change this to Keith Baker, but right now it still says Carl Russ, so it's just fine. So I'm going to click on Next, and then it's going to go through all this, blah, 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 and then I've got to put in a PIN number. The PIN number, there's actually a little link right here that will tell you Mary Feezer PIN number is Q9483. So I'm just going to grab that, paste it in here, and then I should be able to push Submit Request. And what it says is request was sent to content provider, and then I can request another. Now if I'm doing multiple times, sometimes what I'll do, I don't know if you'll need to do this or not, but if you want to have the same program for another time, I just use the back arrow and just go back to the screen where we picked the date and time and just change it, and then click through, and then I don't have to enter everything again. So it's kind of a time saver if you're doing the same program at more than one time slot. Okay, so now let's talk about a program that costs money. So I'm going to go back to my original search and do careers again. Now let's see, what's something that probably costs money? How about museum careers? Or here's careers in the aerospace industry. So let's click on that and see. So this is 35 participants. This is older kids, so it wouldn't really apply to us. I'm just trying to get one that costs money. So now this one's $185 for 50 minutes. And so some of them range up there in the 100, or there's some that are 50, and I mean you can use that little button to choose cheaper ones. Okay, now if I was going to request a program that costs money, the main difference, I fill in all this stuff. One thing I have to do differently is request an organization. So instead of Mary Feezer Elementary School, I'm going to look for Elkhart Community Schools, which of course is up in the E's. And when I find it here, Elkhart Community Schools, so click on that. Then everything else I do the same, click on Next Step. Now the billing information looks a little weird because it says something about Minnesota. And the first time I did this, I'm like, what? Minnesota? That can't be right. Well, that's because we've got money, Elkhart Community Schools has money in what's called a content dollar bank, and this is the actual location of the CILC. So this is what would happen. So now they would send they are the requesting organization, and then when I go to this last screen down here at the bottom, instead of entering Mary Feezer's PIN, I have to click on this forward for PIN authorization. And what happens at that point, I think it's still a bit of a mystery to me, but Dan Rice gets a request from them. He approves it or denies it, and then uh, the tricky part on this one, though, is the other thing that you have to remember is when you're doing a paid, make sure you put your name in here because you're not going to be the requesting person anymore. And maybe you should do that anyway because Keith may get the email and you may not. So I would maybe every time I would put my name, my email in these boxes. That way you're going to get the information about whether the time was accepted or not, and the date and all that, and if there's any materials to go with it, you'll get all those in the email. Sometimes Dan approved a program before and somehow we didn't know it was happening and they were calling us on the day and we weren't prepared. We had to scramble. So I would recommend that you put your name and email in these boxes every time. And then if it's a paid program again, you've got to make sure that the requesting site is Elkhart Community Schools, and then when you get to this last screen here, you have to click forward for PIN authorization because that will have to go through Dan Rice. So hopefully this gives you a little idea of how the website works. I haven't done a lot with these other buttons. I'm kind of interested to see what we can find out. Now collaborations is one I'd love to see people do, and you can post your own. So that's something you could do if you wanted to make contact with a school in another part of the United States, Canada, Mexico, other parts of the world. You do have to kind of keep in mind time zones, but you can post a collaboration, and so that you would actually be talking to various children, adults in other parts of the country or the world. So I'd love to see some people do that. The other thing I would love to see you do is, as you're planning your distance learning and your collaborations, they connect those with your academic subjects in class, and it seems like a wonderful opportunity to do some writing. Okay, well, I'm going to end the video, and then we will have some time to discuss and answer questions.